I want to do a couple introductions before I start this afternoon. First, it's great to see a wonderful crowd here. Great weather to help that. I'm joined by my council colleague, or Deputy Mayor Jerry Boyce is here today. I also want to acknowledge in the front here my former council colleague and past ward and Deputy Mayor Estella Rose, who served with Alvin and our group on council for several years. It's nice to see Estella here today as we pay tribute to somebody that everybody here knows, whether you're a neighbor or whether you're in the township, whether you're involved with South Nation or whatever it may be. It's a fitting tribute here today that we're paying and acknowledging the service of Alvin Runnalls. As I've been thinking the last couple of days of what we could say, the first thing I think is you could tell Alvin was a teacher because he was a lifelong learner. There wasn't many times that we had a council meeting or a get-together that he wasn't talking about the latest thing he read in Municipal World or in some farming magazine or some history book that he had read and was sharing us the latest information. And I was thinking of a time with our council group that one of my favorite biographies is Kennedy's biography. And I said, Alvin, you should read it. It's about 300 pages. He said, absolutely, I'd love to read it. He goes, I got a book for you on U.S. politics. And it was LBJ's biography. It was 1,100 pages. And I thought, okay, I think I got through about a quarter of the book. But we exchanged books quite often and was a lifelong learner. Today we're here to dedicate a piece of community land in name of Alvin. And I think that is very fitting. Alvin was a great community person and involved in a wide variety of different activities. He cared about the township, he cared about the counties, cared about South Nation, and if it was the Dundas Federation and OFA that he was involved with, if it was Community Food Share, formerly the Food Bank, Upper Canada Playhouse, the hospital, St. Clair's Anglican Church, and its predecessor congregations as well, Alvin was involved in a lot. So today we pay tribute to a great community person by naming this beautiful piece of community land for him, and we thank Dawn and her family for allowing us to put the name to this and for everybody being here today. Thank you very much for having us.
Welcome everyone. On behalf of the Runnalls family, a big thank you to South Nation Conservation, the counties, the Township of North Dundas for commemorating Dad's contributions this way. And thank you also to retired forester Dorothy Hamilton and the other members of the county's working group who put Dad's name forward. This honor would have delighted Dad to have his name given to promote two causes that were dear to his heart: environmental stewardship and outdoor recreation. He grew up on a farm with a woodlot, and the forest is a place to explore, to observe nature and harvest maple syrup was an integral part of his youth. Throughout his farming life, he was committed to balancing farmlands and woodlands, and as a politician, he keenly enjoyed his collaboration with South Nation Conservation and the St. Lawrence River Institute. Another of Dad's passions was outdoor recreation. We spent our family vacations camping and hiking in provincial parks, and he loved running. We always hoped to see more trails and recreational areas locally. If he were here today, he'd be joining us on the trails with a proud, happy grin. Please enjoy the forest, and to those of you who knew him, please remember Alvin fondly. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Pat. It's a pleasure on behalf of South Nation to be here at this very special event. I've known Alvin for many, many years, both as a friend and as a fellow politician and as a dedicated member of South Nation. He served, as Mayor Duncan had mentioned, in many different capacities, and each one of those was very, very important to him and very important to his community. My first girlfriend used to go to the school, but I can't remember her name. I and some of my brothers were hired by the Ministry of Natural Resources at the time. And this is the Moorwood Bog back there, and the bog, as you know, would catch fire and it would just burn around. And so they would hire young people to go in, and they would give us a water backpack, and we would go and squirt the water into the ground, and we would be down there in the summer doing that. So when I heard that this was being renamed in honor of Alvin Runnalls, it really brought back memories of how important that area was many years ago, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And along with the counties and the South Nation, we're going to preserve this for many years. South Nation is very keen on trees and forests. We administer a number of forests for our own properties and for the counties. We have committees that are looking at, I guess, protecting trees. As was mentioned, Alvin served for 2 terms, represented counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Brook Areas, an active member of the SNC board from 2008 to 2014, 6 years. The 40-year history of his community involvement is legendary, having been involved in over a dozen organizations and providing strong leadership on all those committees, and I can attest to that. Served on the Federation of Agriculture. He was a board member of the Winchester Hospital, Chesterville Historical Society, and chair and vice chair of the Food Bank. And I think with all of those things that he was involved with, I think his real love, I know it was politics, but I really believe that he enjoyed his work with South Nation, because that really was his pride and joy. Preserving nature, he certainly had a keen part in his heart for forestry and protecting the environment. He worked on our communications committee. He supported and assisted in the advancement of SNC's initiatives to conserve, restore, develop, and manage the natural resources of the South Nation River watershed. And this was where I got to admire him so much, because he showed during his time at South Nation really how dedicated and sincere he was in protecting our environment. And for that, I'm sure his family is truly honored that his legacy will live forever in the forest that we're naming in his honor today. So thank you for your dedication, and I'm sure he spent a lot of time away from his family when he was serving on here, but I think his community is much the better for that. So thank you very much. Ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3.
Some of the ways that, in terms of forest, that we help the landowners is we have a tree planting program that offers full advice and trees at discounts to landowners. We also have a woodlot advisory service that helps landowners. The forest that we're going to be looking at this afternoon is one of the first compartments that was acquired by the United Counties back in 1949. And since that time it was formerly managed by the province of Ontario. There was a lot of tree planting that went on in the forest, and a lot of tending to get it to the stage that it's at today. And it's a valuable asset on the landscape, being a very large block of forest and wetland, and something that we should and have recognized for the protection for future generations.